give up on your legal status. Many people fail to respond to RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our CARES team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. All right, good afternoon. Sorry, a little bit later today than normal. Today's show, we're going to talk about a game-changing update on green card interviews. This is something I experienced with a client last Friday, actually. So it's wonderful news. We had approval. We found out on the spot. And typically, officers don't want to tell you on the spot. You know, they just kind of want to reserve the little card in their hand and not reveal if you were actually approved. But the officer told us on Friday that our client was approved. And the clear indication of that was when she had stamped his passport. Now, I'll talk more about that in a second, but I want to share some, go to my normal thing. Friends, if you don't know me, my name is John Ting. Welcome to Green Card Guys TV. I'm the host of this show and helping you point you in the right direction to maybe even solve your immigration problem or maybe even preventing that problem from happening in the first place, okay? So you can get that legal status. Now, of course, one of the key things people are concerned about is how long will the case take? I apologize about my voice. Hopefully we'll get through this. So I have some voice issues today. So the show might be about 15 minutes today. And try my best to answer your questions. So you're welcome to drop your question in the comment section, in the chat box. And, when I answer your question, it might not be as in-depth answer that you would hope for. It's TikTok, it's social media. So I'm just trying to roll through them quick. So ultimately, you might want to schedule an appointment with us. One of the ways to do that is give us a call at the number above if you're on Facebook and YouTube, or especially if you're on TikTok. You're welcome to DM us. The secret code is October, okay? Just put OCT October, okay? That helps us, helps our CARES team prioritize, trying to give y'all some value that will answer you first, essentially. One of like someone call us through straight Google search, we prefer to, or not call us, but fill out our form on the website. It really helps our team prioritize because we do receive a lot of inquiries, which we really appreciate. Thank you so much for your trust. But ultimately, they do get a little overwhelmed in that sense. So please show them some grace. They'll get back to you. And what they do is that they try to help you. Of course, they're not lawyers. The first person you talk to is not a lawyer. They're a CARES team specialist. Okay, so they'll ask you some questions, really see if there's a way we can help you, because we train them. We train them as if they're a lawyer, except they're not lawyers. So, but you're welcome to share your legal question with them, and they'll write that down. They'll type it in on our system, so that way our attorneys are ready. Because there might be a situation we don't want to waste your time. If there's a situation that we don't help with, or we just don't know that information, we prefer you not waste your own time, so that we'll refer you to someone who maybe it does. Right? We know a bunch of other lawyers, and someone just asked us earlier. Who knows? You might be on the show right now. How to get a social number. But ultimately, in the social number or something else. But ultimately, it's how can you get a work permit, right? So, because initially we were thinking, oh, maybe they need a lawyer in Florida. But anyway, so that kind of gives you an idea that ultimately trying to tie it into immigration if that's what it is. But sometimes if there's other scenarios where you might not need a strategy session with us, we greatly appreciate that you would want to consider one to chat with us. But there are some scenarios where we could just email you a free guide, and maybe that might be enough. But after that, then chat with us if that's not what exactly you were looking for, or need something more specific. Okay, so wow, there's a lot of questions so far. Thank you so much. But let me follow up with today's topic. It's a short one, really. I don't know. I might talk a lot about it, but essentially, it's a marriage case, is what I'm referring to. On previous shows, I talked about what you could do to waive the interview. I've also talked about don't be scared. Don't be scared if you get scheduled for an interview. It's not a bad thing, okay? It's just more so that it might take a little longer. But this case that we had the interview Friday, today's Monday, we filed that case in sometime like mid-June. So mid-June to September, end of September. I was like, what? July, August, September. 3 months. I was about to say 4. It was 3 months. That's freaking fast, right? I mean, some of y'all might get a little faster than that, or if you're still tuning into immigration, share your experience about that. If you've already been approved recently in the past year, especially, get an idea how fast your case was. But look, folks, if you get scheduled for an interview, don't be scared, okay? Now, if you don't have a lawyer, it's a pretty good idea to consult with one. Of course, if you already filed your case, most lawyers don't want to get involved. I get that. They're scared. They're scared themselves. We like to share legal information here. I do have to tell you that the information I share with you, I have to say it's legal information. It's not legal advice because our state bars, our respective state bars, we have to say that disclaimers. So you really, if you do have questions, I mean, it's great. You're welcome to ask here on the social media platform, but ultimately, it's really best that you consult with a lawyer one-on-one. Doesn't have to be our team. We greatly appreciate it if you want to. All right. So again, today's topic. I've had an in-person interview and I prepared them, or one of our other attorneys also prepared them. We also set as a client. If you're a client with Ting Law Group, we email you a series of short videos to kind of share with you the step-by-step in that sense, what to normally be prepared for. But we also ask our clients to self-schedule a meeting with us so that we can really ask more pinpointed questions, basically as if we're the officer that we're pretending to be the U.S. officer in the prep session. Okay, so we don't mess around. And so what I learned in law school is the 3 Ps: prepare, prepare, prepare. Okay, and fortunately, when I spoke with this client, at least there's several questions that I had prepared them with that the officer did ask, right? And I can share with you what those are if anyone's about to go to interview or you think you're going to go to interview soon. Number one is, let me see your driver license. Let me see your DL. Let me see your IDs. And they're going to look at the addresses. Do the addresses match? Now, of course, just being human nature, even if you move to a new place, you move in with your spouse, barely anyone updates their driver license. And more so is because it's more like a hassle, right? So you have to be ready to be able to tell the full story. I mean, it doesn't mean full story doesn't mean it has to take 10 minutes. In fact, you want it to have like a short answer in that sense. And you can't just not too short like and I just didn't want to update it. Like that's not good enough, right? The person, you want to give them enough information where the officer can feel comfortable to ultimately approve your case, right? So, of course, I gave my client some ideas, but based on what they share with me, I'm not trying to say like, I'm not never tell a client to lie. But of course, I try to rephrase it for the client so that they understand how to share it with the officer. Because human nature, some people get a little flustered, even for is like, what did you eat for breakfast yesterday? Like, oh my God, I don't remember. Truly, I don't remember sometimes. It's either waffles, pancakes. Today I got lucky, French toast. My spouse is very nice to me in that sense. I need to step it up. I need to make some breakfast for her. But so even my point is a simple question like that can kind of slightly derail an interview. It might derail your mood or your vibe. So, because the officer will be like, how can you not know what you ate for breakfast? But it's really like, sometimes I don't remember. It's just one of those things, like it's just by habit, right? You kind of do every day. And so if obviously you want to tell the truth, so that's why you might pause too long. But at the same time, you don't want to be like, I don't remember, right? That's a silly question. That's a silly example to just kind of give you an idea how you could be thrown off. So essentially, I guess I'm sharing more advice, more legal information about this because one of my team members asked a question related to this, that someone had their interview delayed, or I think the computer system wasn't working anymore. Believe it or not, even though they have certain systems, I don't know why, like their internet or something doesn't work as often. Like every time I call the USCIS or I go to in-person interview or my associate goes to in-person interview, there's always a story about like, oh, I'm sorry for the delay. I'm sorry for the delay in my computer systems. Like, this, like, what the hell's going on? This is a little weird. But sometimes, but sometimes it's not working to extent like you can't, like the officer can literally cannot conduct the interview, which is still kind of weird because they still have the physical file. It's just ridiculous. So, but part of it is because after you get to a certain point, the officer asks some questions about the interview, or about the applications, for example, in your marriage, relationship in general. They're going to ask you to click this little signature pad to tap it. If there's any changes, you need to let them know on the form. If anything's missing, for example, tap the screen to verify and then sign it. So I can understand in that sense why they still need the computer to work, but still, it just still seems a little silly that they have to get rescheduled. So, anyways, silver lining though, right? The client, or this person doesn't sound like they had a lawyer on hand. Not saying that you necessarily need one in person. I still think it's better because typically, at least, I don't know, maybe I've just been very fortunate, but I like to say it's based on reputation and proven checklists and things like that, or workflow. The officer, maybe I shouldn't say this out loud. I can just say that the officer didn't ask that many questions. Not the ones that definitely not the ones that I prepare a client with, like not the 100 questions, right? Of course, those are more like red flags just in case to prepare a client, but didn't go through all those security background check questions on the 485 application. She basically summed it up and paraphrased all those questions into one, which is wonderful. But that doesn't always happen, right? But essentially, it's just providing. In my opinion, one of the reasons why, other than the questions itself, is that the interviewer, okay, the immigration officer, wants to be able to get a vibe from you, right? Like, so I was giving you that silly example of, what did you have for breakfast this morning or yesterday? Like, just little things like that can throw people off, right? So just be able to answer like, just what do you call that? Like, go off the cuff in that sense, go off the cuff. Not saying that I have something scripted, so that's why I say go off the cuff, but really help the officer feel calm, help the clients feel calm and collected, even before going to the interview, before going to the USCIS office. So I don't know, maybe I just give, not right now, not on social media, but I try to give a Zen vibe when I'm at the interview, okay, in that sense. So people feel comfortable essentially, okay? So anyways, but obviously lawyers are always there, or we want to be there when there's a serious concern. But but if that was the case, like too serious, like we would not have filed it anyway. But there could be there could be other scenarios where you definitely need a lawyer there. But anyways, so anyway, the key thing I want to share with y'all, just to recap all the information I just shared with you, is that from time to time, the officer, if they believe that will be approved, it doesn't always have to go to a supervisor, but if they believe it's approvable, they'll put the stamp on there on your passport. So bring your passport, your foreign passport, okay, to the interview. All right. So that was wonderful. It's just rare to see that because usually they're like, oh, I need to send it to my supervisor for review, just final review. And maybe it's because this officer has been working there for a while, many years. I don't know. But yeah, that was great. And that's helpful also. So for those people who are scared, and not saying you have to set up your case to that where you require interview, but hey, if you get interview waived, that's great. But just for those folks who are may get scheduled for interview, don't worry. Okay. You do need to prepare for it. Not saying go in there like nothing, you don't prepare anything. Because usually there's one person in the marriage relationship that is not so good with dates. So like kind of like going back to school, you need to remember some information. Because if you just don't remember or you get dates mixed up, man, the officer's gonna tear y'all up, man. Officer is not gonna, officer can care less. I was about to say happy or not happy. It's just about like just knowing information, right? So a lot of y'all unfortunately call our office. We love to help y'all, but I just hate to see this happen where a lot of y'all end up getting denied because you just simply did not talk to each other about the interview to prepare. I hate to say it, but when I ask clients like, did y'all talk about this together? They usually say, no, we haven't. We didn't. I was like, well, then there it is. Like, y'all should have talked about it at least. And so I know the day to day you get busy, whatnot. So anyway, if you appreciate this information, please share. Please click TikTok. We just want to share real time information. Most lawyers wouldn't even share in detail to what I just shared with you. So because I mean, for me, I realize that like, look, there's a lot of people that need help, but there's also some people that feel like they can do it on their own. And unfortunately, those are sometimes the people that we end up needing or get hired to help anyway, because those cases get denied. So if there's any little thing I can share like this, happy to do it because you already paid the fees to the government. My goodness. And anyway, I can go into a spiel about that, about USCIS. Hey, what's up, AO? Nice to see you on YouTube. All right. Now, Maria's sick today on our marketing team, so I have to be able to pin the comments myself. So please bear with me. I'm talking longer than I thought I would. So I'll probably answer about, I'm going to say at least 5 questions. I'll try to get to 5 questions at least. Hey, Moy, what's going on? Happy Monday to you. Okay, CKD. All right, model. At least you look like you're a model. If you apply for AOS in November, what kind of timeline are you looking at? I know you commented before, so I'm not sure if like you entered with into the United States with a visa or not. I'm just going to safely assume yes, you did. If you did, then you filed November. That's next month. Man, it's crazy. Next month already. Then I mean, so I was thinking that in person, when you have an in-person interview, sorry, a lot of context to your question here. Let me pin it so others can see. So, and I'll see if you had a follow-up information here. Can I talk about SIJ? Sure, I'll talk about that too. So yeah, CKD, I mean, I always generally just say a year, but if the government still tends to waive interviews, then our experience has been like 3 to 5 months on average. Okay. But can't guarantee for you. I feel like there's a trend lately that they might not be waiving as many cases for interview, waive an interview, and it might just be local to local field office. Okay, so kind of give you an idea. So don't assume that you're going to get your case waived in terms of interview. You might still have it, but again, don't be scared. Crammy asked about immigration. USCIS asked for your medical exam. You just send it. Just very straightforward. What does it mean? Basically, it means that most likely your case will be waived for interview waived. So that's a great thing. Otherwise, traditionally, if they want a medical exam, they would just say, hey, courtesy notice, bring it to the interview. All right. Yeah, it's the last step to get approved. Thanks, Moy. Sam, you asked, or Sammy, your lawyer submitted your application from July and still did not get a receipt notice. Holy smokes. Okay, well, that's not too bad, but it's August, September. Okay, so it's at least 2 months. I don't know, man. I don't know when on July. So I know it's strange, but I know that USCIS website, if you're still on, Sammy, tools and resources, okay? It has like submit inquiry. I mean, your lawyer should do that. Maybe they did already. But yeah, I'm pointing. What am I talking about? Tools and resources page, submit inquiry. There's a box. I think it's the first one that says, did you lose a receipt notice or did you not receive it or something like that? Which my team handles all that now, so I don't remember if they allow you. I would think that they allow you to submit it without the receipt number since you didn't get the receipt notice. Hopefully, otherwise I'd probably call in for that one. Worst case scenario. But of course, calling in, is it normal? No, it's not normal. But they are being slow. USS is definitely slow. Of course, you know about the processing of the case in general, especially for waiver. Suka on YouTube asked about waiver. I'll talk about that in a second if I can. And then what else? I realized that I want to go in depth, but I want to be kind to others and answer everyone's questions. So I might have to think about like a more exclusive group so that I can answer your questions in more in depth, especially Suka on YouTube. Just talk about waivers is a big topic. 751 is a little faster I could talk about. So if y'all are interested in something like that, my team can set that up. I think how it works on TikTok at least, or even YouTube, is like super fan or something on YouTube. Like basically a little bit more exclusive so I can answer your questions in more depth. because I know some people are shy. It's kind of interesting. Some are shy to call in, but you're willing to ask on social media. So either way works for me. I think it's kind of interesting though. What kind of dates? Wait to Jenna. I'm not sure what you're talking about. What kind of dates? Um, so for Eric's question on TikTok, your wife is from Brazil. You're gonna file her for her long-term green card. What do you anything you need to know? Yeah, so that's a great example. Like, there's a lot you need to know for sure. You probably, I'm assuming would like to know like processing times, the steps. I can't go into all that right now. So I think what I'm gonna do is, at least for some maybe a question like that, record a little bit longer video so I can upload that to yeah, I think I do that TikTok and also YouTube and whatnot. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so give it a follow. I think on TikTok at least you could do that somewhere up top on your view. So you can stay tuned on that. So hopefully I'll try. Oh, you already did. I see it. So thanks, Eric. I'll try to do that this week for y'all. Let me write that down. Actually, I got a list open right here on my book. Um, Eric, can you tell me if you're still on, Eric? Can you tell me if you're okay? So I'm inferring that your wife is actually in Brazil right now. So I'll talk about consular processing. Okay, let's go next. Tia Roberts. I think there's already a fifth question. So I'll go five more. Okay. I'll go five more. It's kind of random especially since I don't have Maria. She's sick today. Hope she feels better. Is there a backlog for immigration interviews? Your daughter's been documented. You're qualified. Yeah, unfortunately, there is a backlog. Last I checked on the visa news page on the Department of State website, it is, I believe, at least 300,000 people still waiting in general. And then, of course, just generally, it's going to be more and more because more people are applying when they're eligible. So, depending on the country and nationality, I'm sorry, the embassy or consulate, I would just say expect at least 6 months. Now, if it's already been 12 months after DQ'd, then that's when we sue the State Department for something like that in terms of that unreasonable timing. All right. Way to Jana. If you came as visitor and did AOS, how do you get the same address as a sponsor? I'm not sure what you mean. Are you not able to write it down, or do you mean get the same address? Sorry, I thought I could answer that question. You mean like, oh, do you mean like the driver license? Is that what you're referring to? So like I was talking about earlier, then you would need to get the work permit, I believe, to show proof for in terms of identity, proof to the your Department of Motor Vehicle. Some states call it DPS, Department of Public Safety, for the driver license. I think that's what you mean. What kind of proof to provide? All right. Someone asked, "Our work permit's 5 years?" I think mostly everyone. It's a long list, but I don't think it's for everyone, but almost every type of application. So that was for Moy. Okay, so um, I would love to answer. Shelby Max, you uploaded the birth certificate. Is that good? Your newborn certificate. Congratulations to you, Shelby Max. I just don't know what you mean by is it good? Like, is it good enough? That's a scenario you definitely need to talk to a lawyer because I don't know what other evidence you provided. Oscar shared that isn't the United States located in DC? DC is not a U.S. state. That is correct. DC is not a U.S. state. I know they're trying to get statehood. They've been trying to get statehood for a long time, and I think one of the main reasons because certain states get funding from the federal government, but DC is not a state, so it's like they're kind of like in a catch-22 situation. I'm sure they get some funding, but not in the extent of funding for like other states. But I'm not sure why you brought that up. Do you have a follow-up question about that, or are you just sharing with everyone? Some of y'all have very similar questions, so stay tuned on TikTok. I'm just going to record a answer for that. So if you want, if I'm not able to get to you today, but especially here on TikTok because they make it a lot easier. Um, just ask your question in as a comment in one of my other videos, and it's very easy for me to record right there on the spot. I'm surprised YouTube hasn't gotten better about it, but I'm gonna answer some questions on YouTube here. AO asked, "What's going on with 751?" So I know it's taking a hell of a long time. Unfortunately, it's about 48, I believe. Yeah, when you file your 751, so AO, you might already know this. You file a 751, you're going to get a receipt notice that states on there, like the first paragraph, that your conditional residence status has been automatically extended for 48 months. That's 4 years. So you would think, oh, that sounds good, but I want the permanent resident status. So it's some pros and cons, I guess. Well, I wouldn't say con. It's just more of acknowledgement that USCIS takes a hell of a long time to process those cases, 751, and I don't know why. You would think, because the whole point, at least I understand the whole point of 751, to remove those conditions is to make sure that this is legitimate marriage. In a sense, like, yes, they should have verified that in the first application, first set, but it's like they want a second chance to verify again. But why does it take 4 years? Right? Because if it was allegedly a fraudulent marriage, you would think they want to process your case or review your case sooner. So yeah, it's pretty wild to me. But the pros on that for 4 years, conditional extended at least, is that not saying you can't do anything else. I'll share a hot tip on that. But the great thing is that you don't necessarily need to call into the InfoPass, the hotline, to say like, oh, I need to update my passport with a temporary stamp. That's what we would advise our clients and y'all on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook. About these kind of information. But yeah, the hot tip is that you don't literally have to wait 4 years. As long as if you're still married to the spouse who sponsored you, which I wish you all the best, but that don't always happen. Some of y'all get divorced. Is that if you're still married to that same sponsor that's a U.S. citizen, then you can file to become a citizen. Okay, within 3 years. Okay, 3 years. So that is 36 months of being conditional resident status. But you can actually file up to 90 days before those 3 years. Okay. Now, look, let's say you get divorced or separated in between that time after you file it. Then, sorry, buddy, you're going to have to refile again. I mean, maybe just leave it there, but I would just withdraw in that kind of situation. Of course, talk to a lawyer one-on-one before you do something like a withdrawal. But you have to, if you get divorced, then you have to have you wait the 5-year rule. Okay, again, you still can file up to 90 days before the 5 years expire, but that kind of give you an idea. Okay. See, that's an example. I have a long-winded answer. That AO's question was just like five words. Suga Lisuga on YouTube. Sorry, just joined. Caught the end of me talking about waiver, and I don't remember what I was talking about waivers on that one. Maybe the processing times. And you mentioned follow-up comment. Your medical was done before October 1st, 2023, but they want you to do it again and take the COVID vaccine. Can I fight it with a religious exemption? Oh, you haven't even taken COVID vaccine? So, broadcasting to y'all, PSA, even though we're not in the CDC says we're not in the pandemic anymore, you still got to take the COVID-19 vaccine as a default. Yes, you can file a waiver if you want to be exempt from the vaccine. Look, I took it. Was it the best decision? I have no idea, but so far I have to say it's the best decision for me personally. I can't say for you, but for residency, for immigration purposes, whether you're abroad or inside the United States, they do require applicants to take the COVID-19 vaccine. Okay, so, and it's tough. I know it's tough. We have some clients that are adamant to not take it. I get it. We're in America. It's about what you want to do with your body. But the waiver application to be exempt from taking the vaccine, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I'm going to tell you the downfall, I guess, the consequences. Number one, the waiver application for that is about, I believe, I could be wrong, I believe it's $715, okay, right now, until if and when USCIS increases the fees. They can literally do that tomorrow if they wanted to, because I already passed the final rule in March. So I'm surprised they haven't updated. But so it's supposed to go to 1,000, I think. The other thing is, I believe that if you want to contest it, you have to tell them that you didn't take the other vaccines, which I know is completely weird. But yeah, from what I understand, it has to be religious or moral grounds or something. But you have to be specific. You can't just literally write a statement. I didn't want to take I don't want to take the vaccine because of XYZ reason. Pretty sure you got to give a little proof or something. Um, Miki says one can do whatever they feel like with their body, but got no right to spread all over. Don't take vaccine, then stay home. I mean, that's what the U.S. government is trying to say, right? So I know it's tough, but back to Suga. I mean, this is a sensitive topic. I know. Not trying to create any hate here, but just trying to share the real time, realistic situation with USCIS or State Department related to your prior query. How long does it take to adjudicate the religious exemption? I have no idea, but I can say that waivers in general take a hell of a long time, at least a year. But the other type waiver, which you're not talking about, not for you, Suka, is the 601A. They claim it takes 4 years. We have several cases that are taking that long. But I recommend file a lawsuit in that situation. Anyway, long story short, your hearing is scheduled for October 6th and now wanting to add Form 601. Yeah, you're likely not gonna get approved for it that quickly or get it processed. I mean, it's already October 2nd. So you just gotta be realistic with the situation. So if you're 150% adamant not to take the COVID-19 vaccine, I'm pretty sure I talked about this in many times in the prior shows. It's going to be difficult. Like if you yourself, and just transparent here, if you yourself can't provide, and I really don't want to say legitimate, but like a reason based on the USCIS standard or the what they're asking for, then why spend? I mean, I guess yeah, obviously your health is obviously more important than $715, but take it for what you will. I guess just want to give you proper expectations. Just because you file the application does not mean you're going to get approved for it for the waiver exemption on the COVID vaccine. So just they actually do verify. Okay, just like the immigration status case itself, immigration benefit case. Okay. Back to TikTok. Thanks so much for y'all being patient. A lot of y'all have waited. So let me switch back over. Nasea, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Do you have to give your visa information when applying for tax ID number? I believe you have to show like a prior visa or something for tax ID number. I don't know if they change the rules on that, but I'll have it ready. I'll take a look and I'll ask one of my accountants and check on that. But I do remember one of my clients did have to provide some kind of visa information. I think it's like a, I think in fact they might have had to provide the actual passport. So for me, that's concerning, of course, but hey, you got the client got the tax ID number. So it may also depend if you're trying to do it for yourself, like individual, excuse me, or for a business. If you're trying to get it for a business, then I don't believe you have to provide your passport at all. Okay. Or your visa information. Hopefully that helps. I see many of the questions here. If I don't answer you, I'm sorry. It's most likely it's better to just schedule a strategy session with us. We offer it for no cost to you. Okay, it's a special benefit for y'all. Special some of the comments are funny. Special benefit for y'all. So take advantage of it. Today's code is October. You just put OCT. It helps our cares team. They're not lawyers. It helps our cares team prioritize inquiries. Okay. Please note they're not lawyers, so they cannot answer your legal question. So everything here is basically a legal question. Lady on TikTok asks, I'll go back to YouTube. I see those questions, comments. Lady on TikTok asks, when is this interview scheduled for Family Base? Why is it taking so long? So that's similar to what Spirit Mind Soul, like your YouTube name. I need to go check out the channel. How long before interview at embassy we are documentary approved? Blah. That's what I was laughing about. Yeah, it is blah. It's like ridiculous. So why is it taking so long? The lady asked. I really want to say something. I really want to curse, but I'll just hold off my rant. They're just not organized, essentially. Okay, generally they're just not organized. They're not efficient. Maybe benefit or the doubt just is that I just don't think that many people are working anymore with the State Department, the embassies, consulates. But I also don't want to give them that excuse, right? This is just going to continue to more people are going to continue to apply. So that, but just because more people continue to apply doesn't mean that cases should take this long. Like technology works. We use technology to process through cases faster. Um, so even people are surprised how we do it internally. But that's maybe why I'm losing my voice. It still requires my voice. Let's see. So, I mean, I answered this question earlier in the show, spirit, mind, soul, but maybe you just joined, but I would say at least 6 months. If you get shorter, great, but just want to share some average timing if it was possible across all the consulates and embassies in the world. um, Someone asked me this child support question on a consultation before. Your husband's not working and he owes child support. Can he still file for you? Um, he still needs a yes. He still needs to file a 864 form, assuming you're here in the United States. Okay, user 9020. Um, okay, but if he's not working, then ultimately it's really like answering two questions. If he's not working, you still need to file a 864 form. You'll need a joint sponsor. He owes child support. So you need to user 9020, you need to that's okay in terms of sponsoring. That will be a question later. So assuming your husband is a citizen, then that's usually child support is usually an issue when it comes to for an applying to become a US citizen. But it is still an issue to sponsor you in terms of income, right? So, and I hate to say this, but is he not working because he doesn't want to pay child support? Because I hear of that. So, anyways, just food for thought. Suka Liz Suga. I think I'm saying that right. You're welcome. Happy to help. Do I do this live weekly? Uh, the other audience members here can share with you that I do this every day, Monday through Friday, and that's probably contributing to my losing my voice. I try to do it every day for 15 minutes. I said I was only going to answer 5 questions, and somehow it's almost been 40 minutes. But yeah, happy to help point you in the right direction. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. And Suka Lisuga, please subscribe down below and click the bell for all future notifications if you want to hear from a lawyer. Okay, Miki, can you self-sponsor for marriage case if the U.S. citizen doesn't work? What is up with y'all? What is up with y'all sponsors not working? Come on now. Come on. Tell them to get it. Tell them to pick up the slack. All right. No, I'm just messing around. I know some people can't work, obviously, for other reasons, maybe disability or something. I get it. I've heard of it. Not that I get it. I'm sorry. But no, you cannot self-sponsor for a marriage case. But you can be a household member if you have a work permit right now, like you already had the work permit. So yes, in a marriage case, you can get the work permit later, but it's really just in general, if your spouse is not working, doesn't have an income, because the key thing is, what is the current income? Because maybe your spouse worked in previous years, which I hope so, but in terms of USCIS application, they also want to most specifically want to look at current estimated income, like basically like what is the expected income for the year. All right, so I would just try to save you some time and continue looking for friends, family, people that go to a religious institution with you. If you go to a religious institution, I know I try to be as unbiased as possible, but honestly, it can be a neighbor too. But ultimately, it just has to be someone you trust, right? Because this person needs to sign a form. It will have some personal information on there. So yeah, some people don't who are asked to be a joint sponsor. I mean, usually it's the boss. If it's like a really small company, usually I've heard of like bosses Our clients have had their boss or supervisor agree to it, which is a big decision for people. So I get it if you're obviously trying to avoid getting that joint sponsor. But otherwise, if you have assets, at least co-owned, income from bonds, that could count. Basically, any like financial assets or property, it can't count. But this is something that I already have a YouTube video about. So maybe I think I go into it. So you might have to search affidavit support, something like that, to find it. Otherwise, you message our team, they can text it to you or something, or email it to you. All right, I want to share some. So if you're just now joining, welcome to the show. I'm going to transition off soon. But the thing is, for most of y'all that ask a question, I can't get to y'all. Sorry. It really is better to schedule and give us a call or go to our website for a strategy session for 15 minutes. Won't take up too much of your time. I know y'all are busy. But yeah, that's the best thing to do. Okay. Some of the questions I intentionally skip because it requires a long answer. At least I like to answer a long question. Okay. Anyway, the code today, secret code. I'm pausing because I see some comments. October OCT. So give that code OCT. And but I'm going to answer at least one more question because I do think it's interesting, and we had some success on it. King Me on TikTok says, "Can an undocumented person get divorced last week and married next week?" And the answer is yes, you actually can. And I was chuckling because Island Gal says, "Are you serious?" with a sad face ish. So yes, that is possible. Now the mechanics of it, can you do it? It depends on the state because first of all, like in Texas, the default is you have to wait 30 days, what we call cooling off period. But in the divorce order, you can ask to waive. I mean, if you had a lawyer, we would put it in the document anyway. But in testimony with you, we will ask the judge, like, will you please approve this 30-day waiver. Now, for immigration purposes, I can that waiver, the 30 days. I don't know if you can do that in every state. I don't know where you're at, but to get married, because another reason why it's more possible for USCIS purposes is just maybe you've already been separated from your current spouse for a long time and you're just finally getting your divorce order completed. If that's the way I understand your question. So if the facts are straight in that sense, and you've been dating your new significant other for a while, not just like last week, then you could back that up when you file your case with evidence, and especially if there's an interview, right? So just some caveat to that. But yes, in general, we've done it several times, but we have to add, like, and you have a strategy session with us, we do ask those follow-up questions just to make sure. I wouldn't just, for me, again, this is legal information. You need to consult with some attorney one-on-one that has experience with this. So hopefully that gives you an idea. All right, it is possible, but you need to speak with a lawyer. All right, folks, thank you so much. If you don't mind, if you got some kind of value from this, I go full steam ahead. I think that's why I lose my voice. But if you appreciate this content, how I share the information, go straight to the point, please tap the screen on TikTok, follow me up top, I believe. Or if you're on YouTube or Facebook, hit the thumbs up and subscribe down below. And yes, I'll be back tomorrow. Okay, at least I think I will. All right, y'all have a wonderful day, and don't get your case denied. Okay, and don't delay if you have. It's been a long time. File a lawsuit. Have a great day. Take care. Bye bye.